Warning.
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 Warning. You are entering into the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. Too late. Personal Development Unplugged.
So the longer podcast. And is there such a thing as a confidence blueprint? Really? I know I said so in the title, but if there was such a thing as a confidence blueprint, I think you just find it's clickbait. Think about it. The one and only way to confidence? Yeah, I don't think so. You see, I'm thinking about confidence, and it reminded me when I was one of the most confident people, confident Cloughie in my career. I was so confident. Couldn't do anything wrong. I just knew. Until I wasn't. Something unexpectedly happened. And boom. That confidence bloody went. Completely went. But where'd it go? And I'm going to talk to you about that a little bit later, right at the end. But you see, the title also says, Steps to Self-Assurity. That sounds a little different. So what is self-assurity? Well, it's all about, I guess, being confident in the things that you say and do. Because you're just sure of your abilities. I think that's what self-assurity is. Being confident in the things you say and do because you're sure in your abilities. And I've always put that down to something, I love this little saying, being confident in your competence. Because your competence is your abilities, isn't it? And if you're confident in your competence, you're self-assured. But it doesn't have to be in everything, does it? Because if you haven't got the abilities, you can't be confident in them. But you can be a master. And we've talked about mastery before. Doing what you know and knowing what you do. That to me is then being confident in the things that you say and do. Because you're sure of your abilities. Because you are mastering the things that you do know. And you're actually doing them. And there are some people who just, they know it, but they don't do it. And there are other people who do what they don't know, and they think they're confident. But that's just overconfident and getting onto, well, maybe the realms of stupidity. So, let's just think now. Becoming more self-assured. Because you already have self-assurance. You just want a little bit more. And that's all about knowing what you want, isn't it? You need a target to aim for. Because if you know what you know, you probably then, if you thought about it, know what you don't know. And then you can decide what you want to know. It's getting in circles here. And when you set that target, you can start to learn. And then you become more confident in your competence because you know what you're doing and doing what you know. Because you're confident in the things that you now say and do because you're sure of your abilities. Wow, that went round, didn't it? So what are the things you could aim for? Well, you could aim to be a therapist. Yay! I mean, I didn't aim to do that initially, but hey, I'm very confident in my abilities of being a therapist now. Yeah, so I'm self-assured. And I think that I know it comes across. But it could be so many other things. It could be to be more social. That's social anxiety, holding you back. But if you were self-assured about you, and had that self-assurance about yourself, what you say and do, then you could be more social. That leads to things like speaking out more, maybe at meetings, maybe expressing yourself in a group. Maybe doing things like a podcast. Maybe you want to get a better job or get a promotion in your career. Maybe you'd like more friends. See, I said plural, not a. You might want a special friend, but just more friends. Maybe you want a partner. Or maybe you just want to learn a particular skill. You name it, you fill in the blank. Because these are all things we could aim for, using what we know already and learn new ways. But we need a target. We need an aim in mind. We need a bullseye. So, I keep saying so now, don't I? Where's that come from? I think we all experience unconfidence, and I don't know if that's a word, but I know what I think it means, when thinking about a goal, when thinking about an aim in mind. And why is that? Well, my thoughts are, well, we have to admit to ourselves that we haven't got there. And here's the thing, when we say things like we haven't got there and we get that little bit of guilt or sadness or whatever it is, we miss the word off yet. We have to admit that we haven't got there yet. Oh, that sounds different. Yeah, so we just need an aim. Know that we haven't got there yet. And that's the whole point of doing this, because we haven't got there yet, but we will. Now, if this thing about self-assurity is a big thing, self-confidence is a big thing, and it is causing you distress, maybe panic and things like that, then I think you really ought to go and see a therapist. That would be my advice. A one-to-one therapist, get in there, get it sorted. You know what I say, find someone who's a master hypnotist, master practitioner of NLP, timeline therapy, and boom, they'll help you really, really quickly. Or if it's not as big as that and it's just you want some help to do it by yourself, obviously I've got my Supreme Inner Confidence program, paulcloughonline.com. And I think it's confidence is a /confidence, but you'll find it if you go to the front sheet, the landing page. But that's for dealing with it at an unconscious level. The things where your unconscious mind is trying to do something and it's not quite working, all that stuff. But I'm not selling that. Well, I am, obviously, but I'm not. This is not the sales patter for that. But all I'm saying is we've got a couple of things if this is really, really, really big. But if it's not, and also, this will help you anyway. Either way, if it's big, just by thinking this through, doing this little process I'm thinking of, it will help you. It will loosen the model of your world. It might even get you what you want there and then. So, what are we going to do? Well, now we've set out our aim in mind, yeah? We've got this thing that we want to do. We want to learn. We want to achieve, be able to, all that stuff. That thing about being and doing. More social, speaking out more, all that stuff, getting a partner, friends. So you have to think, I think, in questions. I love questions. But first of all, let's ask the question, where the hell are we now? Where are we now in relation to the thing that we want? Because we need to know where we're going to start from. We don't want to get overconfident and think we're further along the line. Well, I'm nearly there. Now, where are we now? And one way of when you think about where we are in relation to where you want to be, do, is to think about, well, what qualities do I have? Now, if you search it through the latter or the last sets of longer podcasts, there is one called My Qualities. Also do hypnosis track on My Qualities. But don't be shy. Think of the qualities you have. No one's going to read them, so you can write them down. Be assured about this. What qualities you have in relation to what you want. What do you know? What have you learnt? What have you done before? What have other people said? And just get a feeling for where you are now and all the good stuff that you have already. That's that mastery, remember? Even if it was only one quality, and I know you've got so much more than one quality, but if you just do that one quality, knowing what you do, doing what you know, you are a master of that one quality. But you've got more. And just think for a moment. So we've done where we are now. We've done our list of qualities. We may have listened to a hypnosis track. But then we have to ask our question, what does we want? I'll start that again. What does what we want look like? And it's more than just looking like. But a lot of people say look like because a lot of people are quite visual. But just think, if you could visualize in any way, shape or form, whether it's 20/20 vision or just an awareness, what would it look like, that end result? Maybe you being more social, maybe you speaking out more, you having that better job, having more friends, a special friend, a partner, or learning to do a skill. What would that look like when you've got it? Because when you look like it and what would you hear and how would that feel? Because you've got to know it feels right. Because if you might think, I really want that, but it doesn't feel right. And remember, this is what would it be like when you have it? Forget the how you're going to get there and you're not there yet. No, jump into the future, wherever that would be, and go, if I had it now, what would it feel like? What would it be like? What would I see? Because I just want to make sure that that's exactly what you want. Yeah, I do want more friends. I would like to be able to speak up. Because if I spoke up, and I was speaking up with a self-assurity, it would be like this, be like that, and people would be smiling at me, and they'd listen, and I'd learn more, and all that stuff. What would it enable you to do is another question. And when you see the two, the difference where you are now to what it looked like, just maybe another simple question. Well, in that case, what do I need to bridge that gap? Because we're now going to start to find the steps to go from now to then. And you might go, oh, Cluffy, this is so difficult. It's a bit difficult sometimes what it would be like. Oh, I don't know what I know. Yes, you do know what you know. But here's another simple question. If this was really easy, what would that be like? Well, if it was really easy, I'd make all the steps just like this, and I'd get a piece of paper and I'd write the steps down and work it out. Yeah. So just make a note. What would this be like if it was easy? Where am I now? What are my qualities? Let's be honest. Let's not be shy. Let's don't underestimate, but let's not overestimate. Let's be, I've learned a lot in my life. And what does it look like if I got it now? Yeah, there you go. Now we've started. So let's go back a little bit to self-assurity again. Everyone knows a person who is sure of themselves. Yeah? They're grounded, aren't they? They're strong. They have that inner strength because they're sure of their abilities. So this is this thing. The difference between now and then, what are the abilities you need to learn? So you can then be confident in the things that you say and do because you're sure of your abilities. Being confident in your competence. So let's get them down. What abilities do you need? And then start to think of where you're going to get them, where you're going to learn them. Now, if you want a little bit of help with this, because I want you to write those down, because you need to know the type of things you might need to learn. If you wanted to do a particular thing for your job, you might need to learn another skill. Maybe it's just getting a skill of talking, being able to open a conversation with somebody. That one little skill, opening a conversation, knowing that you've got things that you can talk about, will do that. So you have to write those things down. But then think of #449. It's not too far away. Listen to that because that gives you all the steps you need to start putting it together. Start small. And as you, as you, as you consider everything in #449, And then you know what you need. You think, okay, I know what I need now, but what's the smallest step I could do? Because if I can do one small step, and I can because I want this, I know what it'll feel like, I've got the motivation, it's important to me, and it's only a small step. And if I master that one small step, I'll have that confidence in my competence to master. And you see, once you've got that goal in mind, that thing that you want, and you do what I've said, you start taking action, and it's sort of intuitive action, but it's also thoughtful action, but you have to take action, and it's continued action. And as you do that, you become aware of where you are now, because you've moved along the road a little bit towards your goal. Where are you now? Where are you? How much more have you got to do? Maybe there's some new things to learn because you're now aware that you're on this path. And maybe you think, oh, I've strayed a little bit. Oh, I didn't think about this one. So you then begin to become flexible because you start to think, well, maybe if I learn this as well. So you're not rigid in your approach. You have a flexibility in your approach because of your awareness and the action you're taking. And because we did that little thing of, what will it look like when you get the thing that you want, you could also act as if you have it now. When you visualize yourself doing it, you'll know how you'll be in your physiology, how you'll walk, how you'll talk. You'll know in your psychology, the way you think. And you'll know then you'll be confident in your competence. Be sure of what you know, what you say and do. It's all there. It's all adding to those qualities that we've made a note of. And then you'll start to skill stack. And then what happens is, I'm starting to move towards this target with more self-assurance, which is I feel confident in my competence. I feel confident in myself now. You'll find that will generalize into other areas of your life. So you become more self-assured in different areas that you weren't even aware of. It's amazing this always happens. So you're aiming for this, but funny enough, I was only talking about social. But you know what? I'm getting on so much better at work now. I'm leading things. Maybe I'm going to meetings and I'm bringing things there. Wow. All these things, And actually, I'm making more friends. I'm being more social. Whatever it is, you find that other things just get better, get richer. That's that word again, richer. So here's the thing. If this has got you thinking, I want that thinking into starting to do. Start doing. Start with the program, this little program of getting it down. Where are you? Where do you want to go? What will it look like? What are the things you need to learn? Let's start a program and a schedule of learning those things. Let's listen to #449 if you haven't listened to it already, or go and review it again. Make some notes. Take action, knowing your what you want. You take action. You become aware. You're flexible. You're acting as if all these things. Skill stacking. And that's all about doing. Don't just listen to this and go, yeah, it all sounds really good, Paul. Yeah, I know all this. No, go and do it. And if you need help, if there's something you think, this all makes such perfect sense, Cluffy, but I need a bit of help in this area. You know what you need to do. Just email me, feedback@personaldevelopmentunplugged.com. That's it. The other thing to do is, I know I'm going to say share, but share what you know. Share your journey. Share your adventure. Because when you tell other people what you've learned and how you're using what you learn, you become more self-assured. Because that's what just happens. And they get to know about it, and you tend to inspire them as well. And as you get that more assurance, self-assurance, more self-confidence in your competence and everything else, and as you share that with people, you know how much you've learned, it becomes a real solid platform, which is self-assurance and self-confidence. And if you want, you can mentor somebody as well. Mentor someone, help them learn the things that you've learned. I mean, this isn't a blueprint. Never was going to be a blueprint. I don't think there is a blueprint of self-confidence a blueprint to confidence, but it is a process of achieving self-assurity, self-confidence, being sure of yourself. And it's just a process. And this process is adaptable. It's flexible to you, which is why I wanted to get it across to you, because it is it's an easy way. I've broken it down into simple steps, easy steps. But the thing about simple and easy steps are they take effort, though. They take energy. But once you start to make little inroads into those little steps along the way, suddenly your confidence starts to build. And those little steps get bigger. And you start from a little crawl to a walk to a run and a skip and a hop, and we're just having fun. And then it spreads to different areas in your life, and you start to use this everywhere. And it becomes unconscious. It's a wonderful thing. It really is a wonderful thing. So please, as I say, do share this with people. Share this podcast if you would. Let's get everyone just feeling good about themselves in the right way. And in that way, this little old planet Earth reaps a benefit, makes it a better place to live in for you, me, and everyone else. There you go. And I'm sure you've subscribed, followed, all that stuff, those stuffs, whatever it is. Have fun. And look up #449 and those hypnosis tracks. And if I can, I'll add on a little bit at the end to tell you where to get them. Okay? So until the next time, my friend, you go with all the self-assurance you have bubbling up inside you. Go do it now. Go fly, my friend. So, the 90 seconds of hypnosis tracks. Why have I put hypnosis tracks on a separate website? Well, it's so simple, really. I wanted you to have them all in one place, so you can look through them all. You can find the particular one you want. I've even made them downloadable, so you can put them on any of your playing devices that you prefer. You don't need Wi-Fi, you don't need the iTunes or whatever. You can put them anywhere you like. You can even burn them onto disk if you want. Where do you get them? Well, there you go. I told you, it's paulcloughonline.com/podcast. If you're worried about your email address, please don't be, because they stay totally safe with me. I only use them to send you out that email and give you access. Simple as that. I send you a link, a special link, so you and only you can access those hypnosis tracks, because I want them just for you. And the other thing about this is you've taken responsibility. I don't want to make these open to everyone, just random. You have taken responsibility to listen and be part of this community of personal development. And I want to help you. I want to help you personally to get your dreams, your goals. And therefore, I'm giving you these tools, these protocols, these paradigms, whatever you want to call them, but in deep hypnosis. So just enjoy. Have more fun than you can stand with hypnosis.